Alrighty guys, I am back with part 2 of all the games I completed in 2015. Last time I went over all the multiplayer games and any games that were point and click, visual novels, dating sims, and hidden object. I'm going to move right into the very few puzzle games that I finished this year. These are all games that have a very visible start and finish. There are games like Bejeweled that I play very regularly just to pass the time or when I'm waiting for something, but that's something that you could play forever and ever and ever. It's never ending. All of these games have puzzle aspects in them, but they do have a start and a finish, and I completed them all. So I played both 10 Million and You Must Build a Boat, which are made by the same developer. And they're both match 3 games. So it's a very simple game of match 3. And in both games, you have an objective that you're using with the puzzle solving aspects of it. In 10 Million, you're trying to get enough resources and get 10 million, the high score, in order to break out of prison, I do believe. Get out of captivity of some sort, anyways. And in You Must Build a Boat, the objective is to build a boat, obviously. And You Must Build a Boat is a lot more complex than 10 Million in terms of like the story that's built around the core gameplay, but both of them have very, very addicting and very fun gameplay. It's match 3. It's pretty hard to screw up, and it is one of those games where you can just sit down, expect to play it for a couple of minutes, and then realize you've been playing for a couple of hours. So I really enjoyed both of those games. They are both a lot of fun. I stumbled across a game that I kind of bought out of curiosity, and it's called Kittie Power's Matchmaker. This is a unique specimen. It's one of those games where, again, I don't quite know how to describe it. I put it in the puzzle section because it has a lot of different aspects to it, but it is so incredibly complex when you break it down and you look at all the different aspects that the game actually has. You run a dating agency and you set people up on dates, and then as time goes on you build up the agency, and then the ending of the game is kind of setting up the hardest person in the game on a date, and that's how you finish it. So it seems simple enough, but if you look at the game and you look at the community and the guides and all the different feedback and strategies and things like that to actually get to the top, it is really overly complicated, but it is very fun. It's very simple, it's very addicting, and I played for a very, very long time before I actually was like, yeah, I gotta put this down and move on and play other things. It's also very humorous, so that's one, again, that I would recommend checking out if that's something that sounds interesting to you. And then, of course, finally, I played Huniepop. Everybody and their mother played Huniepop this year because it kind of blew up. I don't really have much to say about it because I think everything has already been said in all of the attention surrounding it. But if you haven't heard of Huniepop, then I would 100% recommend either playing it. It's very cheap on Steam, comes with a very low price tag for the amount of entertainment it gives you, or watch a playthrough of it. There are about 1 million out there, and you will have a good laugh. It is a very, very funny and very entertaining game, to say the least. And again, that's like Bejeweled kind of game style, so very, very easy and very, very addicting. And then finally, going into my last category, everything else is in this category, just miscellaneous, anything else that I didn't want to throw into any of these other categories, basically. So I'll start with what I have physical copies of. I finished, if I can turn it the right way, I finished Pokemon Omega Ruby. Ruby was at one point my favorite Pokemon game. It probably still is, arguably, I would say. But I haven't played Pokemon in a really long time. I'm not really into it anymore. But I know that it has improved a lot over the years, and they've done so much with it. And of course, it is still huge. People are, I think, always going to be into it. So I decided that I would give it a try and see if I could get back into it and see all the different advancements that they've made, and I did enjoy it. I had fun, and it was a really, really good remake. It was nice to kind of relive those old memories. So that was good. I don't play a lot of games on my 3DS, so it's nice that I also got to give my handheld a little bit of much needed attention. I only just recently finished Deadly Premonition. I have the Xbox version, which was a gift from a friend who gave this to me last Christmas. I finally did get around to playing it, and I've also played the PlayStation 3 Director's Cut Edition. It is an amazing game, but if you have the option, definitely play the Director's Cut Edition. I played the Director's Cut Edition first, and then I went to the Xbox version, and it was a severe downgrade, and it was hindering at first. But again, don't be discouraged from actually playing the game, because it's great. It's a lot of fun, and it is kind of one of those cult classics that you really have to kind of experience for yourself. I mentioned in my 2014 gaming video that I did last year that I had picked up the Tales of Symphonia Chronicles, and I had once again been reliving Tales of Symphonia, which is my favorite game of all time. Because this is Chronicles, this also comes with Tales of Symphonia 2, Dawn of the New World, which is kind of a loosely based sequel of Symphonia. I had first tried to pick up Dawn of the New World a couple of years ago when it had come out for Wii and play it, but I hated it. At that point, I think I was just really stubborn. I was really just distraught that it wasn't at the same level of Symphonia, and I didn't play it. I didn't really give it much of a chance, but I decided to pick it up and play it again this year with a fresh mindset. And yeah, it's definitely not up high with the other Tales games that I really love so much, but I don't think it's horrible. It's definitely playable, enjoyable at some parts, and it does feel good just to finish it because it is part of the Tales franchise that I love so much. I had started my year off this year with the remake of Resident Evil HD. I have here my physical copy of the GameCube version, which was first remade from the original PlayStation version, so it's been remade twice at this point. But I was so incredibly excited for the release. It was one of my most highly anticipated releases of 2015 at that time, and I was completely obsessed with it. I was so incredibly happy to be playing it. I really enjoyed it. I got very good at it, in my mind anyways, and I was finally able to beat it. I have owned the GameCube version for a very long time, but I played it when I was younger, and I wasn't as skilled at games as I am now, and I found it difficult and hard to beat. But finally now, with the HD version, I was able to complete it, and of course I also did a playthrough on my channel just because I loved it so much. It was just so entertaining, so fun. It was just something about it, just a feeling I can't describe. But, you know, I've gassed on and on and on about it, so I won't talk about it much more. And I'm looking very forward to the Resident Evil 0 remake as well, which is coming out soon. And speaking of Resident Evil, I also played Resident Evil Revelations 2 when it came out this year. I pre-ordered it, and I played it by myself at first. I then grabbed a friend locally, and we did couch co-op. I bought it as a gift for my friend who I was going to visit on my way to Too Many Games this year when I went on holidays. So I brought it for him, and we recorded a playthrough of it, and I let him keep it as a gift. So it really got around. I did multiple playthroughs of it by myself and with friends, and again, I was very looking forward to it and pretty happy with the result. I'm a Resident Evil fanatic, obviously. It was a great year for Resident Evil, so I'm really hoping that 2016 will not let me down. Oh boy. Alright, so the last game I actually have a physical copy of that I completed was Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. What a piece of shit. I played this because I was curious about the infamy of the game. Many people know that the game is very infamous. Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are like masterpieces. They are fantastic games, held in very high regard by a lot of people. And then Nuts and Bolts is like the bastard child that nobody cares about. And I always knew it had a bad rep. And it was just one of those things where I wanted to see for myself. I wanted to see what made it bad. Not necessarily that I didn't believe people, but I wanted to have my own opinion. And so I played it. I didn't enjoy it all that well, to be honest, but once I started it, I wanted to finish it, and I wanted to be able to have an opinion based on experience rather than ignorance, just kind of going along with the crowd. This game is bad. No, I can say it's bad because I actually played it. I'm not a fan of building. I don't really like games where you have to build things. I don't have a very active imagination with that kind of thing. So it just kind of took the fun out of the game for me. The whole building aspect of it, and plus the fact that it just ruined the characters that I loved so much from Kazooie and Tooie. So anyways, if you're like me and you want to play it because you're curious, I would just play it as part of Rare Replay, because it did come out with Rare Replay, but play at your own discretion. And for some reason right now, I can't find my case for Innocent Life. I think my cat's knocked it over behind my TV stand. But Innocent Life, of course, I did a Let's Play of on my channel, but it's one of the only Harvest Moon games I've played for the channel that I haven't played ahead of time. I actually played this game for the first time as I was doing the Let's Play, so that was, again, a very interesting experience for me. I kind of talked about it in the videos already, but that's kind of out of the norm for me, and again, it's a little bit out of the norm in the way of Harvest Moon as well. So, very interesting experience. I'm glad that I finally actually got around to playing this game, despite the fact that it is very different from what is regularly seen in the franchise. Going into the final stretch of other games that I've played, most of these are Steam or digital copies of games. I played Draw a Stickman Epic, which includes drawing different objects to get through a story. It's an indie game. It's very short and kind of creative and kind of fun. I played 99 Spirits, which is kind of a difficult game to explain. I would classify it kind of as an RPG. You move along a grid and you fight monsters. You know, typical kind of RPG elements with a Japanese kind of theme. Again, I can't do it justice. If any of these titles seem interesting to you and my description is shit, then just feel free to look them up and they'll give you a better idea. I played Tomb Raider, finally. That's something I've wanted to play for a long time. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, I think, which is what was holding me back, but it was free for Xbox Gold members with the Xbox One. So I downloaded it and I thought, it's free, I finally have it, I should play it. Hooked. Like, played it start to finish, was playing like nothing else, totally 100% focused on it. I really enjoyed it, and I was sad that I didn't get in on it when it first came out, and now Rise of the Tomb Raider is out, and I really want to play that. So, if you're hesitant about Tomb Raider at all, coming from someone who was hesitant, I would definitely put hesitation aside and at least give it a try. I had another gift given to me by another friend, and it's the game by the name of Lisa. And the only way that I can describe this game is Earthbound-esque. It takes a lot of inspiration from Earthbound, I think. Very similar environment, very similar gameplay, very similar kind of wackiness and humor and things like that. So obviously it was very, very enjoyable to play. Also very, very dark, very strange, but very entertaining. I had a chance to play the Ducktales Remastered version, which is the remastered version of the original Ducktales that was on the NES. I didn't play the original NES version, but I have to say that this version, the game that I did play, was a lot of fun. Just your simple platformer, but very short, very sweet, very satisfying. One of those things, again, one of those games to kind of break up the monotony. I played it when my computer wasn't working and I couldn't get access to most of my Steam games. It was just kind of one of those games I had laying around. I figured I'm going to need to play this eventually. Now's a good time. And I quite enjoyed it, actually. I did find it very enjoyable and probably a very good remake from what I've seen. They put a lot of work into it for sure. I had the unfortunate experience of playing a game called 3 Stars of Destiny on Steam. It's one of those RPG Maker games that was pushed through Steam Greenlight. I enjoy playing RPG Maker games on Steam because there are good ones. There are ones out there that have been independently made and are very well made, very entertaining, but then there are an array of games that are not so good, and unfortunately this was one of these. I wrote a negative review for it on Steam even, but in order to do that I wanted to finish it, so I did end up kind of suffering through it. I finished it, and I probably will be a little bit more cautious about the RPG Maker games I play in the future. I generally like to give things the benefit of the doubt. If it has mixed or negative reviews, I try and give it a chance anyways, because you can never really know until you try it yourself. But I think in a lot of cases the Steam community has very good reviews if they're serious, and that was one that I probably should have just stayed away from in the first place. Finally, a couple of days ago, I finally finished Fallout 4. I'm still playing it actively. I want to go through and do as much else as possible. I want to finish the game with the other available factions. I want to get the different endings and the different outcomes, just like I did when I played New Vegas. But technically, I finished it. I went with one faction. I finished the final mission and got the credits and finished it, so to speak, even though I am still actively playing. I think I've got 100 plus hours and I'm still going, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Probably why I haven't had more games finished recently is because I've been working on Fallout for so long, but I think that's a good game to go out with. It's definitely been a very good year in gaming. Like I said, very productive, more productive than I usually am. I managed to go and play a variety of different games. Like I said, I played more multiplayer games than usual, and it was really a mixed bag, and for the most part it was a mixed bag of good stuff, and I'm really looking forward to what 2016 is going to bring us in terms of games. So I hope you guys had a great year. I hope you had a great year in gaming. If you have any questions about any of the games that I mentioned, or you just want to chat, feel free to leave anything in the comments, and I'll try, if I remember, to make a list, a physical list in the description of all the games that I mentioned in this video. So hopefully I'll be back to make another video about something sometime soon, and if not, then I will see you guys later, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and a good New Year's to all of you. Bye-bye.